Hi, welcome to another segment of Around Town. I'm your host, Andy Amrine, and this TV segment is going to be about the technology program at the Bethel Park School District. When we're talking technology, we're talking a vast array of what these students have to offer itself. Yes, there is still woodshop, and woodshop is still an important part of it. It's one of the areas that I first had my love of cutting wood and building things, from a birdhouse to a step stool itself. The wood program is an important segment to what the technology program is, but it's not everything anymore.
First, my name is Bill Wells. I've been teaching at Bethel Park School District now for 14 years, 6 of which were at the Independence Middle School as a technology education teacher and / gifted coordinator for the enrichment program. But the last 8 years I've been here at Bethel Park High School. We've transitioned from the industrial arts program into the technology education program, which is based more around engineering and trying to get kids ready for those math and science career-oriented types of professions that are so greatly needed. We've never done a study, but I would say it's probably upwards into 80–90% of the students that participate in these classes do go on to college. Some of them for engineering. Some of them are here to just to get a taste of what it's like and see whether they like it. Some of it's for hobby purposes, but I'd like to think that a lot of it is for students that are going to get into some type of trades type of a career or engineering type of a career. We have the video production, so there's the video production. Students could enter into a filming type of a career that would be based around anything in the TV industry. Also, we have the engineering field where kids could get into the different engineering activities, engineering fields. We also have transportation with flight simulation, so you could get into the different areas of transportation. We have electronics, so if you're interested in electronics, you could get into an electronics area. We have house wiring, so if you were looking in more of a career in the electrician's field, the students learn the basics of house wiring, so they could get a taste of that and see if that's an interest to them. We have the manufacturing or woodworking and carpentry areas where students could explore that avenue. And then the graphics area where, in the printing, offset printing, mass producing documents, designing and producing pamphlets and things of that nature that, would be used in every business for advertisement purposes. So I think we, touch on a broad base of a lot of different careers and areas, and try to focus recently with the engineering on the science, technology, engineering, and math with the STEM program that has become, very popular, subject in today's world. It's extremely important to have the classes at the middle school to give the kids an introduction into what's available here at the high school for them to take. Without those programs at Neil Armstrong and at Independence Middle School, they wouldn't have any type of idea of what was available here at the high school for them to kind of explore as far as maybe a career is concerned.
We're here at Neil Armstrong Middle School, or 5-6 school. At Neil Armstrong itself, this is where the technology programs start for the students itself. In 5th grade and 6th grade, this is where they get their first taste of what a technology program is. And the teachers here try and embrace the students, get the students excited about what it is that they could be doing in technology for the next 5-6 years of school itself. So they're learning what some of the technology programs are, what they have to offer. They get their first taste of what robotics are, and they get their first love and passion of maybe becoming engineers or architects or pilots or whatever the case may be. But this is their first taste, their first love of the technology program.
Neil Armstrong is taught by Mr. Lytle and Miss Rebecca Foringer. And they also, introduce some of the different things that we teach here. They used to do some woodworking. I believe I know that that's no longer in the area, but they do a lot of engineering now, and they use a Lego type of a system to design and build their own robots and program robots, so the kids get a little bit of taste of engineering in that program, as well as some of the transportation skills that Mr. Smock teaches.
My name is Jeff Lytle. This is 5th grade technology education. It's an introductory robotics class. This is one of the very few 5th grade classrooms, at least in the Western Pennsylvania area, that offers 5th grade. I think 5th grade is a great introductory age and grade level for them. Their spirits are high. They have a lot of motivation to learn different things, and the computer-based and robotics-based activities really catch their interest and keep their interest throughout the 9 weeks and possibly as a career later on. About approximately 3 years ago, we changed from a industrial arts / manufacturing class where we would build a small bookshelf and some other small projects into today's classroom of robotics and robotics curriculum through Carnegie Mellon University. Technology education, or tech ed as we like to call it within the field, it teaches them what I think public education lacks a lot of, which is critical-based thinking, critical thinking skills. Anybody can memorize 2 + 2 is 4 and then any algebraic equation. But when problems are given to people and students at this age or even older, they need the skills without a set of instructions to get there. So as an intro class in 5th grade, I'll offer them challenges. It's called Enrichment Friday, where I'll give them a challenge and they have to go over to the board without any instructions and try to reach the goal.
Is it teaching any special skills to be in robotics?
Yes.
Like what?
How to fix problems when they are not correct, and how to work with other people.
At the very least, they can open their eyes to the possibility of an automation career. I would love to offer them more than just robotics as a 5th grade teacher, but with 45 days, we don't have that much time.
I think it's really cool how you could learn how the robot moves.
They love what they do, and most of the students in Bethel Park will try to achieve bigger and better goals.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Foranger, the 6th grade tech ed teacher here at New Armstrong Middle School. I've been teaching for 12 years. I taught 1 year at the high school and 11 years here.
I have seen amazing changes. It went from when I first came here, where we did a wood shop for half of the 9 weeks, and then we did a robotics course where it was just a basic the original Lego robotics course, and the kids designed amusement park rides out of random Lego pieces that I had, to starting to think about it a little bit more in depth, like what is going to help prepare them. And I took a couple summer courses up at California University, and I was working on my master's program, and one of the big things that they told us was problem solving. They saw a lot of the university students that were coming in, and a lot of the industry was seeing that they didn't have the problem solving skills that they needed, and robotics is a way to look at it, that the kids can help develop these problem solving skills, because there's real life situations and they take it, and the kids actually have to find a solution to solve something that has occurred or could possibly occur in a real life situation.
Okay, so on the first day we got assigned partners, and we had to pick groups.
Okay.
And then we got to get boxes, and they have all Legos in them. And we had to make sure that we have all the Legos so that the robot would look right. And then she showed us how to go on the computer and how each that's the box. That's the kit, and it has all the pieces.
Okay.
And that's what it started as, pretty much.
Okay.
And we went on the computer, and there's a website you can go on, and it shows you from step to step how to put it all together. Most
of the students, they come in, and some of them are a little bit leery at first, and then once they start working with the robots and they see that it's exciting and that they have it's more, my class is more relaxed, and there's a lot of freedoms where they can get up and they can move and they can test their robots out, and sometimes they have an opportunity to work with another team. Sometimes it's just with their team, but it's just the movement and the ability to see something and how it would impact others that really gets them involved. And even those that are a little bit reluctant at first, they're like, wow, this is really neat by the time they're done with it.
Our robot does action and reaction. So the robot will go, and if we make a sensor go off, that robot will receive a message, and it'll make a sound, and it'll know that the robot sensor has gone off.
For this one, we are doing two-way communication, and what we do is they send, the nose will be pressed as the touch sensor, and that will come to us, and we will respond to it with a noise, like a beep.
So when these buttons is pressed, one moves forward and the other moves backwards.
Okay.
Which it demonstrates a Bluetooth connection between them.
What happens is if a sensor is activated on this robot, which is the Sentry, then it'll send a message to the monitor robot, and it will turn that message into words which are displayed on the screen. This is the ultrasonic sensor, touch sensor, light sensor, and the sound sensor. Each one triggers their name being put on.
I cannot say how important it is. We were joking the other day because one of our scenarios is the kids have a line of code that they have to write, and they can make the choice. It's a top line of code or a bottom line of code that it's going to follow. And I just proctored the InView test last week. And it actually went on with one of the math problems, and I was able to, talk to the kids when we were working on it and say, oh, look, this went right along with the InView test. And then a lot of my questions that I do that the kids have to answer is in regards to what the robot does during class and the different programs and why they used certain blocks to write the programs. Correlates right with the PSSAs, and it helps them, because here at Neal we're doing the ACE, and we can tie all that in, and the kids are like, wow. And I've seen from the first time they started answering their questions until the last things that they've been handing in, the improvement in their writing and the way they're answering their questions. And I've also seen improvement with how their proficiency on the computers and being able to do the programming to watching the kids say, like, wow, I can help you out with this. I know how to do this. So, it's really amazing, and it's just a nice way to tie what they've learned in other classes and bring it all together so they can see a real-life example of how this can impact them.
It teaches you a lot about building and to make sure you measure stuff right.
It's teaching us how to problem solve.
It teaches you measurement skills, and one project, the FIN, makes you do a report about the new technologies that could be coming out.
Just watching and seeing how the kids interact and what I've witnessed with mine versus talking to other teachers and other parents, it's just amazing.
Yes, the class is really fun, and it's really cool to build the robot and see what it does.
Well, it's not just like and she helps us. It's not like you have to do one thing and you've no help. She goes around and she asks if you need help.
She helps you figure stuff out. She doesn't tell you the answer.
Yeah, she helps you and says okay, so do this and then try this again. And if you don't get it, then come back.
Oh, I know at 7th and 8th grade it is a required course, but I know that it becomes an elective once they get to the high school. And I do try to make sure that they know what all the opportunities were up for them to take up there, especially since I taught up there. I have a little bit more knowledge as to what courses are available, but most of them are like, wow, I didn't know we could do this. Oh, that, and I said, oh yeah, that's that aspect that we did. Oh, that's really neat. Okay, I'd like to sign up for that. Well, I got to remember that. And I've had a lot of my students that I'll be talking to the high school teachers, and I'll see a name on with an assignment or something when I'm up there for in-service days, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember that student. They said they were going to take tech ed, and I knew for a fact they did.
Yeah, I was at Independence Middle School. There's two instructors up there, Mr. Richard and Mr. Spitznagel. Mr. Spitznagel primarily teaches 7th grade, and he does a PowerPoint type of a project with the students where they learn how to use scanners and PowerPoint software to make a family tree. And they also spend some time in the wood production lab where they make a small candy machine and get an introduction to some of the woodworking equipment there.
Terry Spitznagel. I teach 7th grade technology education, so I have all the 7th graders. Every 7th grader comes through here. All right, for the last few years, what we've done is we do 2 units. The first unit that we start with is a PowerPoint unit where we have the kids, we're teaching them how to scan, and with today's technology, you know, pictures are digital and stuff, so we have the kids bring in pictures either on actual photograph paper, or they can bring them in on thumb drives, CDs. We even allow them to use their phones. They can transfer some pictures from their phones now. And they create a PowerPoint using family and friends, and we animate it and stuff. So they have 20 days to create that project. And then the second unit we do is the M&M machine here, and we have 25 days for that. The logo that they do now on there, they have to design it when we're out in the computer room, because we have no computers back in here because of the dust and stuff. So they design that while they're working on the PowerPoint as well. On each machine, we go over the safety a good bit, you know, when I give the demonstration. We do spend a day on general safety rules before we come back in here, but then when we go to each individual machine, we probably spend, I don't know, it's probably 10 or 15 minutes on each machine, you know, before we ever turn it on. We give them like a real short demonstration, maybe a 10-minute demonstration, and then let them have the rest of that class period to actually do, you know, what's fresh in their mind, the operations. When they're taking them home, you can see them when they leave the class and stuff. But they're usually pretty proud of them. They can't wait to, you know, take them home and show their parents. We include a lot of math when they're measuring and stuff. That's, you know, finding the center. So they're kind of, you know, dividing fractions and things like that. They realize why you need a ruler when you're measuring out your stuff. And so when you talk about rulers and your math and science and things like that, now they get a real life situation where they have to use it. I started asking a few questions to the kids and ask them if they're more likely to take, you know, a class at the high school after having this, and if they're, you know, more likely to help their dad out at home using tools and stuff. And a lot of the kids said yes, that, you know, they would more likely be willing to help their dad, you know, around the house, put something together, maybe a swing set or something like that. And I think it gives them an opportunity where they wouldn't back away from it. If they saw their dad out there, that they would just go out and help him without him even having to ask them to do so after having this class.
Todd Richard. I teach 8th grade technology education. It's broken into 2 units. We do basic web page design and a digital video production. Been doing that for a while. The web page is more focused into design and a lot of elements of Photoshop. I'm not too worried about the web page aspect of it. I really wanted to focus around them using and learning how to use different elements of design in Photoshop. The video Life Growing Up has a very long history. Now it's on DVD. We're trying to incorporate more digital elements. With the digital technology now, digital pictures allow the video that used to be only 40 pictures. Now I have kids bringing in 100, 200, 300 pictures. The most pictures I ever had was 500, maybe 550 pictures. So you're talking a video that's almost an hour in length. And the kids want to do that. They say, how many pictures can I bring in? And I tell them all, you're going to have to come in and spend extra time. They'll come in at lunch. They don't care. They want something that's very, very nice to take home. I'm hoping to incorporate more moving pictures in it, so video aspect of it, so they can bring in not just still pictures, but video clips. So that's the future of the project, is bringing in video clips and incorporating them with regular pictures so they can learn a little bit more. And it's really an introduction to, we have a brand new studio at the high school, and getting them excited about that technology and telling them a little bit about the high school program. This was the only place the kids could really get video, and when they were going to put the studio in, I thought this is a wonderful opportunity, because there was a lot of kids who would come back to see me to do video projects, because that was the only place they could do that, to do a still video. They said they wanted to do a video for their graduation or something for their parents' anniversary, and they would come back to see me. Now they have the technology, and now I can send kids to the high school, and it's so great and rewarding to see that they've moved on. I asked the kids while they were doing their scheduling, when I just got this new batch of kids, asked them, what did you sign up for down at the high school? And they seemed very, very excited about the programs. This is the IMS television studio. We do a morning news production every morning. I should say Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesdays are reserved for silent reading during homeroom.
So this is a volunteer, though. This isn't a class that you guys do this on.
Just
Now, have you learned? You enjoy it? You've learned a lot to do this?
Yeah.
Have you created any interest in doing this next year, year after?
Yeah.
Any of you have inspiring careers to go into broadcasting, journalism, anything like that?
A little bit.
Maybe.
Most of them, they all know that as soon as they step off the bus, they come right down and they start working. So typically I start getting kids coming down right around 7:15, 7:20, and they start working. And they'll set things up. They type the news. We use the Google Docs technology for them to type the scripts the night before, and so that everything's ready to go. They come in, turn all the cameras on, they set the keys for the green screens, and they do the broadcast. It's a nice program. We're evolving every year. We're doing the best we can, and we got a lot of cooperation from the public. People, the kids really like the program, and thanks to you and everybody else in the public who support us, and everybody we see out there really has a lot of positive things to say about what we do in here, and we're just going to try to keep going with that.
Any 7th graders out there, any 6th graders that are coming up to IMS, do morning news. It's awesome.
Constantly need to keep up with the current technology, with training, with the Project Lead the Way classes that our teachers are going to, learning and keeping abreast of all of those types of different skills, keeping abreast of Mr. Smock's constantly upgrading and keeping changes on his flight simulators, video production. There's constant in-services on how to use the equipment, learn how to run the Avid, which is the software that the students use and the teachers use to teach that class. And some of the changes I also think we may see is to go almost, not to say backwards, but because a lot of the trades now are screaming for people, I think that we have a lot of the technology education area and the engineering area, but we may see us start to change back to a little bit more of that industrial arts piece, a little bit more of the trades piece to keep, so that students, when they leave here, could possibly go get a job with a carpenter as a helper, or possibly go get a job with a plumber or an electrician as a helper to explore those fields. So I think that we need to make sure we stay on top of all of the newest technology, but also not look past some of the importance of the manual trades also. I currently teach the woodworking classes or wood production types of classes. Where most of the projects are based around wood materials, some engineering activities, measuring, safety, so on and so forth. One of the reasons I left the middle school to come here is because I enjoy working with my hands and I enjoy the woodworking portion. So, I probably wouldn't have left IMS for a different position here in the technology education program, but I did want to do the woodworking, and that's kind of why I went to school to be a technology education teacher, was to teach woodworking. So when this became available, I jumped on the opportunity. We start each class, the students come in and Measuring is a skill that students learned years ago, but often haven't used it since then. So
we still measure twice, cut once?
Measure twice, cut once. So, we start slow, we go over the measuring process, make sure everyone is comfortable with measuring. And what we find is that everyone feels that they are until they actually get some practice at it and realize, they could use a little bit of brushing up. And then we go over the safety and how to use the tools. And there's two different classes that I teach. There's an introduction to wood class, and then there's a wood materials and processes class. Typically, the students take intro to wood prior to wood materials and processes, but it's not a prerequisite. So I teach and start every class as if this is the first time they've ever seen or used any of the equipment that's in the room. And often I find that it is the first time that they've ever seen or used any of the equipment in the room.
One of my friends told me that the wood shop was a really fun class to take, and I saw all the cool projects he was always making, and I wanted to make those same projects.
I mean, I've always kind of liked building things because, like, something that I can do. It's not like somebody else makes it for me, so I can just come to this class and just it's kind of relaxing to me, actually.
We start off slow, going over the equipment, making sure that everyone understands how to correctly use it. And then we build various projects in each of the classes. We've built anything from ottomans to wall-hanging clocks, which are, one of the clocks we make is a regulator-style wall-hanging clock. We make a rocking chair. Students will come back and you take the class for a third time, which they just audit the class, which means they don't take it for credit. And I let them make, within reason, whatever they want.
I think as a senior, I'm going to come back and take this class again, because there's some seniors in this class and they can build whatever they want.
One of my favorites is one that a student built this year, and it actually was just featured in the Bethel Park magazine. It was a Stickley-style bookcase made by Jake Glotzbach. He did a beautiful job on it, put a lot of hard work into it. It shows up down here 2 or 3 periods a day. So I'd say that recently that is my most favorite project. A few years back, though, I had a student named David Hartnett who made a beautiful queen-size bed that was a mission-style bed. So those are probably the 2 favorite projects made in my class. When they leave here from both classes, they have a chance to use every tool in the room and should feel comfortable using every tool in the room. That doesn't mean that they could go out and get a job as a master carpenter or craftsman, but I think that they would have a good base and idea on how to go out and get a job working as a carpenter's helper and continue to learn in the field. And also use some of the skills that they have in an engineering type of a background also.
This class is called Introduction to Engineering Design. This class here is part of the Project Lead the Way program. It's a national program. It promotes STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And what this class is geared to people who are interested to become an engineer. Really the purpose of this program is to better prepare the students when they enter another post-secondary program, be it a college degree or a technical or specialization field type course. Ideally, this class here is geared for 9th and 10th graders. Right now they're working on what we call it a miniature train project. They had to draw each part using the software Inventor. It's a 3D modeling software, and what they'll do is they actually draw the part like a 3D part similar to this, and then what they'll do is they'll assemble each piece to make a miniature train. They each make their own train in the 3D model. What we're going to do here, they're each going to make a part using the 3D Touch 3D printer, and then we're just going to make one train per class. This is a big project, so they're spending a lot of time on the computers designing these parts and assemblies. There's also a lot of problem-solving design challenges we do, after a unit like this.
So prior to taking these classes, did you have any inkling that you were going to go into engineering at all?
I was leaning towards it, but this really solidified it.
I actually wanted to be an engineer for the Coast Guard in the future.
Very nice.
So I thought, why not take this class to, start?
Yeah, see what it's like.
Yeah.
So you plan on taking more classes like this?
Yeah.
Rest of high school?
Next year I'm taking Principles of Engineering.
Okay.
And the next 2 years I'm taking CAD.
Well, it's definitely good exposure. You learn what you're going to do as an engineer.
In Principles Engineering, that's a class that's part of the Project Lead the Way curriculum, and that's an opportunity. It's the second course that we've offered at the high school here, with the opportunity of looking into electronics, robotics, hydraulics, a lot of hands-on activities involved there. So the students that are working in there, there's a lot of different areas of engineering that we focus on, but heavily right now we've been focusing on the robotics. So there's a lot of programming involved. Some of the students that come here don't have to have the programming background. It's not recommended, but it really helps out a lot if they know some programming language before they come in. And so we spend an opportunity after building and constructing the mechanical aspect of a project, then being able to program that project to do certain items or tasks, on as part of the curriculum that they have set aside. It's a really good time. There's a learning curve involved with the programming, but once that gets away, then the students have the opportunity to excel and to do some amazing stuff.
Basically, we had to build a sorter to separate 3 different kinds of marbles: a wooden one, a plastic one, and a metal one. And this is where they all start up here. This is kind of like our hopper, and they come down into the gear, which dumps it down into the track, and it comes down. They either bounce and they don't make it over, or they make it over onto the magnet, and the metal ones will stick to the magnet, whereas the plastic ones have more of a bounce than the wooden ones. So the plastic ones will bounce all the way over, then the wooden ones will just come down here.
We have at the bottom, we have to build mechanisms. We're going to have a magnet to sort out a metal type marble, a light sensor with a light to determine the glass type marble, and then we're going to have another type marble, and that's wood, and that'll just go to the bottom.
Basically how we figured out to sort them was through trial and error. We obviously knew the metal ball would sink. Tested between the plastic one and the wood one. The wood does float and plastic sinks. So the metal is a lot heavier, so we used the weight difference to separate the metal from the plastic and the wood. And then we used the fact that the wood floats rather than sinks to separate the remaining 2, the wood and the plastic. And then we'll have once this is filled up with water, we'll have something that will scrape the top to get the wood out. Then the metal's on the one side, you have the plastic on the bottom of the cup, and then the wood in another container.
I think it's neat to be able to build stuff like this. It's neat. It's like the only class that we do stuff like this.
Are these your first classes in the Tech Ed program?
No, I've had many classes in the technology area.
You like them?
Yes, they're really fun. They're really interesting. Last year I did IED, which was Intro to Engineering Design, and then this year I'm in SIM, which is Computer Integrated Manufacturing with Mr. Martin. And then this class, POE, Principles of Engineering with Mr. Smock. And yeah, they're fun. Gets you doing things, designing, getting your brain working.
What got you interested in the technology classes?
I'm going to school at Pitt for engineering, so just kind of hung in these kind of classes.
I'm interested. That's what I want to go into when I go into college. That's what I'm looking into as a profession, and I definitely like the classes. I'm glad I took them. Definitely gives you a good basis of what to expect in careers in college.
I'm going to Penn State University for engineering.
Okay, and that's why you took this class particularly, because you wanted to get into engineering?
Yep.
Mr. Martin, tell us, we're in this class today. What are they doing in this class, and what were the prerequisites to these students taking this class?
This class is called Computer Integrated Manufacturing, SIM for short. These students here had to take IED first. That was the first course, the foundation course for this Project Lead the Way, Introduction to Engineering. Then the next course was Principles of Engineering at POE. Now they're in this Computer Integrated Manufacturing. This course is basically all automated machining using specified programming. Those are robots. Those are educational robots. They're called a ScoreBot. And we can simulate just about anything in industry that a robot does. They learn robot programming. They learn anywhere from simple pick and place to stack blocks to maybe simulate robot welding.
We're working on a computer integrated manufacturing
software, and what we do is we program these robots to do certain things like pick up cylinders and put them in rubber containers.
Right now we're working on a program where a student takes a part and dips it in a chemical, 3 different type chemical baths. And they learn about variable programming and wait commands and inputs and outputs.
Well, I took IED last year, and this year I'm in CIM and POE.
It's all pretty fun. It's challenging at sometimes, but we usually get through it.
So the tech ed classes here at Bethel Park helped you with what you really want to do for your career?
Yes.
I want to be an engineer when I grow up, so these classes have really helped me out to understand what it's all going to be about.
I feel like I'll do this in college maybe.
You know, I had students come back their first year in college and always saying that the ones who go on to pursue a degree in engineering, you know, say that they're ahead of the game in their class because, you know, they had more opportunities in high school than some other students.
Today we'll be viewing the CAD 1 class. It's an elective class, no prerequisite. There's a half-year CAD 1 class, and then there's a full-year CAD 2 class. The CAD 1 is more foundation, learning how to operate the program. CAD 2 is going to take over from there and learn more how to apply that software to particular styles of drawings. Practical application of CAD could be used in many industries, whether it's mechanical engineering, civil engineering, almost any of the engineering areas, architecture, you could do HVAC, even into animation. We're going to introduce architecture and get started on that. And we're finishing up doing isometric drawings and some orthographic drawings. So everything kind of leads into each other. It gives an opportunity for the students to have a vast majority of different types and styles of drawings, where it's moving more into a three-dimensional type drawing eventually down the road.
It's computer-aided drafting and design, and what we do is what we're doing right now is we're taking wood parts and we're drawing them, and then we're measuring them and putting them into CAD. But we've also learned how to make a birdhouse in Inventor, and we did hand drawings the whole first 9 weeks, and we've been learning a lot of stuff this year, and it's been really fun. One
of the projects we're doing right now, it'd be more or less like on a mechanical engineering level, where we have a solid, tangible parts that we're measuring with calipers, taking that information down to a thousandth of an inch, and redrawing that from hand as almost like a field drawing. Then we're taking that to a digital standpoint on the computers. You know, just again operating the software to its maximum capacity and applying your knowledge as much as you can. As far as design work, eventually towards the second half of the semester in the full-year CAD class, we do some architectural work. I've thought about introducing a deck drawings for working with, I guess, national standards in deck design, applying that. So it's just not a design, but it has to follow certain guidelines and criteria.
It's definitely up there in my choices for college.
The course that we have is a year-long course. It's available from 10th grade on up, you know, through seniors. So anybody can take it. It's an elective. You know, there's no prerequisites to take this class. You don't have to take any of the other courses in the tech ed department in order to take this class. One of the things that we have done in the past is split this up into 3 segments. One of the segments is obviously we utilize the flight simulators as part of the core instruction on how to fly. Another area of expertise that we like to look into and learn is the ground school, and that brings the head knowledge and the book work into part of the class. So based on what we learn in the books for flight planning, for the weather, about the machine, how it's operated, the checklists, is all part of the class that we need to learn before heading out to the airport if you're going to take, you know, some flight lessons. And it just enables the student to be a little further ahead of the game.
This is air transportation systems.
Okay, and what part of the class are you doing right now?
We're using the flight simulators, and he looks like he's just flying. You learn how to read the instruments, and over there where they're plotting where to go.
What interested you in taking this class?
I like aviation, and I want to be a pilot eventually. So.
Okay. What do you like best about the aviation class?
Probably the flight simulators, because you're flying planes.
It's
pretty cool.
If you would like to be a pilot, this is a great opportunity to gain some experience, behind the simulator. Another area we do is we build an aircraft, a model aircraft, so they get an opportunity to, see the different aspects of the aircraft and how it's designed, what the pieces look like, how much ratio the wing has compared to the overall size of the fuselage. And so it's an opportunity for them to learn hands-on skills and then at the same time see it come to fruition at the end of the year when we take them out to fly.
I'm putting down the outside sheet of shrink wrap on my wing for my airplane. All I really do is you put it down and it has an adhesive on the back of it, and you use the iron to heat it up so it sticks to it.
What is this class? What's the name of the class?
Air transportation.
Okay. Why are you taking the class?
Because I thought it'd be really cool to learn how airplanes work and to build one and the airflow of the airplane, because I want to be an engineer when I grow up.
What ends up happening is sometimes they come down, they break, then we have to come in and fix them again. But it really depends on the weight and the balance of the aircraft, and that takes a long time to get that very accurate. And the more accurate that the weight and balance is, will produce a better flight. As per this class with air transportation systems, I mean, you're looking at the obvious would become a pilot. So if you would like to be a professional pilot, I mean, it's a good opportunity to start out. One of the first things you have to do is you have to receive a private pilot's certificate in order to move on and gain a lot of hours. Once you do that, you're looking at an instrument flight rating. Once you have an instrument flight rating, then you can go up to commercial flight rating, and then you'd probably more than likely you'd become a flight instructor. After you take another written test in order to become a certified flight instructor, and then it's just gain a lot of hours. Once you have enough hours that you can move on to the next step, where people are going to be looking to hire somebody with about 1,500 to 2,000 hours of experience. They may take you on and get some ratings so you can start flying in a commercial jet. That's one aspect. Another area sometimes, just depending on the aviation industry, it may be a mechanic. It may be somebody that wants to work on the avionics or on the actual airplane itself. And there's a school over at the airport that specializes in that. It's called PIA. That's Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics, and so that's an opportunity right here in our town that's local. If you would like to be another area of learning, would be go to Beaver County Community College. If you want to work in the tower, they have a program out there that you can learn. That's fairly local. I mean, a little bit of a drive, but that's an opportunity if you'd like to work as an FAA, in the tower. Another area is if you're going to be an engineer and you want to design airplanes or design the infrastructure for flying. And aeronautical engineering is pretty important now, and I think a lot of students in our school have sought out that as part of their future.
We're in air transportation.
Okay, why did you take the class?
I'm interested in aviation.
Aviation and engineering, or actually being a pilot?
No, just engineering.
Okay, what grade are you in?
12th.
12th grade. Mm-hmm. Do you know what you're doing next year? Are you continuing in engineering field?
I'm going to Ohio State for aeronautical engineering.
Very nice.
The introduction to transportation is a half-year class. That's 9th through 12th grade. That's just a general class on transportation based on land, water, air, and space. And in that course, there are a lot of different experiments and projects that we produce and do one after the next. It's pretty rigorous on a lot of different areas that we focus on, and we like to take the opportunity with the kids, and a lot of new kids. Most of them are 9th graders, so it's the first time they're in high school, and we're covering safety rules for the machines that we utilize. So they're learning a lot of different aspects. What we have down here in our building here. So Buzzy Beta was a student I had a number of years ago, and he's one that I met his parents at an open house, and they told me that what he was doing. So I inquired about how he was, and they told me that he had gone to Ohio State University, and then since then has really achieved in a flight career in the military, the Navy, and he's been flying the FA-18 Super Hornet, And you know, I was just impressed to see that. I mean, look back when he was in the classroom. You know, I mean, he was a kid that you would never forget. You know, I mean, it was an opportunity that, you know, I'd ask him to do something on the simulator, he would do it. But as soon as I turned my back, he wanted to have fun. You know, and he would be doing something else. You know, and I'm just glad that, you know, the time he spent. Hopefully, it enabled him to, you know, further his studies before he went to Ohio State and eventually now into the Navy. And you know, a good opportunity. If I ever see him again, he gets a break, you know, from the military, I get a chance to talk with him. I can learn something from him now. One of the things that we do in the aviation class is every year I like to take the students out to the airport. So when we go out to Allegheny County Airport, we spend the entire day out there, and we go from various schools, you know, or businesses, and I'll have an opportunity for the students to look at all areas of the aviation industry. We look at the mechanics aspect. We look at the medical aspect. We go to the tower. Last year we had the opportunity to go up in the tower, which that's the first time I've had in over 10 years, but I think it was attributed to how well everybody was dressed. I kind of asked everybody to dress up, and most of the guys were wearing suits and ties, and the ladies wore dresses. So it was, you know, a real nice opportunity that the FAA officials allowed us to do that, to have an advantage of there. And we have a couple business owners in Bethel Park that have extended the welcome for us to go out there and sit on some very expensive airplanes and have, you know, just let the kids have a great day out there.
This is the full-year graphics class. We do several different kinds of printing methods. You saw today that they're working on some silk screening. We do some vinyl cutting for signs, and we make decals. Sometimes we use the vinyl for stencils to etch on glass. What we do here, most of our setup work is done on the computer. It entails computer layout and design. We use mostly Photoshop, though you may use Photoshop in the art department too, but what separates what we do here in the graphics department is that we are creating things not just for the aesthetic value, but we're creating things to be applied to different kind of products, to be printed on different items and things like that. When I came in, it was just getting into the computer layout and design, and now it's just taken over. I mean, originally we would create the designs and then have some other kind of process that you would have to do to make the screen, things like that. Now, most often, it's from computer design, desktop, directly to the product. For example, we do offset printing, and we used to have to go through a photographic process. It would take you 3 or 4 days to make a plate, and now we just print the plates directly to the laser printer. In the full-year class, we actually get into different kinds of professional photography, portraits, still life, that kind of thing. In the intro class, we learn, we use photography to learn how to apply those photos to some of the projects. For example, we have the threshold pictures. When you make a t-shirt design, it has to be a totally black and white design. So, you know, sometimes they'll say, well, I want to put a photograph on this t-shirt. Well, you can't just take a photograph and do it. You have to convert it into a black and white image. So that's like, you know, we'll take a photo, and then I show them the process of how to turn it into a threshold design, which will enable them to use it and print it by screen printing. In the full-year class, one of the first projects we do would be the caricatures. Okay. You can see some of those hanging up here. And it's a very good lesson in Photoshop. And they learn how to use the layering technique in Photoshop, which is very difficult to learn. But they're all successful at it because, you know, I tell them that it's not an art class. I'm not going to grade them on how well they can draw. In graphics, rather than that being our focus is, are you resourceful? In order to print, make a screen, it has to be a totally black image. So that's a process. We take a photograph and then you turn it into a threshold design, which then allows you to make it a printable so that you can pick it up on a screen. You know, what's nice about this class, it's not just that it's helpful if you plan on having a career in graphics. It's also helpful if you choose a career in marketing. It also helps them throughout the rest of their high school career, where they learn how to make professional presentations for any kind of class. And also when they get into college, no matter what they major in, they can use the skills that they learn in this class.
This is amazing. I mean, this is like a huge upgrade compared to anything else we've ever had. We worked in the old school in a little dungeon type of building, and we painted a wall green, and it worked, but to come here is just like mind-blowing technology. All the students in media productions are also in homeroom with me. Okay. So they come in and they get everything ready and they do the morning announcements. They prepare the day before during class for the announcements, and then they come in the next morning and run them live. In this particular class, there's currently 12 kids that do it. And then there's also kids that have taken it last year that have come back to help out, and some of my students in other classes also help out with the media production stuff.
We're the main anchors, so we report all the news in the school.
It's exactly what you would expect like a news crew to be. You show up in the morning, you do the announcements. You show up in the afternoon, sixth period right now, and you really you prepare for the next day. You find stories, find headlines. You read about it a little bit, try to gain some knowledge, gain some understanding of what you're going to be preparing for the next day.
I'm technically the backroom producer back here, and I'm also one of the stand-in anchorwomans. I didn't really know what the class was, but then I got into the class and got really interested in it, which was nice. I like being on camera. I thought I wouldn't like it at first because I had a really hard time reading, and so I was scared about being on camera because you have to read the teleprompter, but it actually has improved my reading, which is nice.
Well, I heard that the school bought all this cool stuff when I had nothing else to do, so I decided to kind of look into it, and now I'm here. I guess more my role is more of like the make sure everything's going okay role in the back with the technical aspects and everything like that.
I do the graphics days next to the anchors every morning, and sometimes with Dylan is sick or Dylan is doing other stuff, I run the show too.
I've learned that in the past year and a half we've been here that kids come back during my lunch period, during my free periods, and I usually have someone here all day working on something. We teach video productions 1 and 2, which is primarily video editing using Avid Media Composer. We are in the production lab, and they basically go out and film all throughout the campus area, and they make videos, and sometimes they do stuff at home, and they all get posted to the kiosk, and sometimes we use them for the morning announcements here as well. At the moment, that's primarily what we do, but we have a lot of plans to do more TV shows throughout the day, and it's all going to be student-based. So anything kids want to produce and work on, they're welcome to use this, and we see this facility being used throughout the school day more, and at the moment it's not, but we're trying to incorporate more and more kids to be able to do that. For example, one of the things they did was they did a March Madness show. So they called it Blackhawk Bracketology, and they put it together and came in the middle of the day, and they shot this whole show, and it was aired throughout the whole school. And things like that students bring to the table are the things we want to air. We have the technology where we could do maybe even like a game show that has to do with maybe some of the testing items that the kids are working on in different classrooms, where they could actually call in from different homerooms and do a live broadcast of the answers and things like that. So there's a whole world of possibilities out there that would like to pursue. It's just getting more and more kids down here to be able to run those things. That's why Mr. Richard up there, we've had him come down with his classes, and they've toured the studio and have seen what we've done, and we've tried to get them to take this class, and most of them want to, but the biggest problem is scheduling conflicts. So we're working on trying to alleviate those problems, and we've even seen this year with this particular class, 2 students were not scheduled for this class because of that, and once they found out when it was running, they did the legwork and made it happen so that they could get in. And they've made all the difference, actually.
This was referred to me by my counselor. He said, obviously junior year is he said junior year is an important time for, deciding what you want to do in the future. And I told him, I'm very interested in becoming a sports broadcaster, announcing sports, relaying sports like I do here. And he said, well, you can take media productions, which is basically the morning news. You make live productions. And so I just took it, sort of just as,
test it out just to see what it was like. You know, I loved it. I love what I love every sports in my life. So this is just doing this, being able to like read about sports all day, and then go ahead and talk about it. It's just it just started out as something as okay, I'll try it out, and then it turned into something that I definitely want to go into a career in. I've been looking at colleges for this kind of environment. Relaying sports, just like sports broadcasting, sports communication, sports journalism, and so that's just referred to me by a counselor, turned into something I love to do.
It is a fun class. You learn a lot, like especially if you want to go into a field of being like a news anchor. Like that's what I wanted to do. So I got to see.
Do that?
Yeah, I'm still considering it a lot. Like I really had fun sitting here and just talking, and I don't know. I've improved a lot.
You meet
too.
a lot of new people.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be in the class next year, and then after, I'll probably, in my future, I'll probably go into something with production.
I might take the same class, this same class.
You like it?
I love it.
Do you think you're going to make a career out of it?
I will probably go to California to try for filmmaking.
Very nice.
I don't know what the school would be without the tech ed program.
This class is fun.
I think it's essential for all the students to have these classes, to be honest with you. I feel that there's a large portion of kids who never make it down to this hallway at all, and would like to see more of them. And we know for a fact that the kids who do make it down here, they don't leave. Once they come down here once, they take every class they possibly can throughout their career at the high school, and they always come back and say how great it was. And even if it's a student who is going on to be a biomedical engineer, they come down and take woodshop, they love to be able to learn how to work with their hands and do something different, and it's something that sticks with them throughout their life. And even kids who aren't super technical savvy, they come down and they learn the studio and they get to do different things, and it just opens up a whole nother world of possibilities for them, which otherwise they don't get.
I just think there's things that you learn down here with on this first floor that you don't learn anywhere on any of the other floors. Like you learn down here, you got to learn. Like I'm in intro to electrical systems, so we kind of learn little things about circuits and stuff that you might need to know if you like own your own house one day and something goes not so good. Then you can kind of know a little bit about what's going on. You don't learn that upstairs in physics or anything. So I think it's definitely good to have these classes down here.
It's a really great program. We have a lot of really great things down here, a lot of great technology, and a lot of really great teachers. And if we could get more and more students involved down here, I think they would notice that their kids are really gaining something from the experience. I've
definitely wondered why if you don't have any classes on the first floor that you should definitely reevaluate your schedule there.
Technology is changing, and Bethel Park School District is keeping up with that technology. The Bethel Park School District is providing rigorous class courses for our students to take, from future engineers to future architects to future astronauts and pilots itself. We are providing the program for these students with these teachers to keep up with the technology. We are building our next generation of very good professionals in our world, and these students at Bethel Park School District are lucky to have this technology program available to them.
Here at Bethel, we do offer a lot of programs. Like I said, I taught at Chartiers Valley prior to this, and Butler prior to this, 1 year at each, and I think we have a wider base of fields and classes that are available for the students to take. So there's a an interest for everyone, I think, whether that's something in the graphics area, in the manufacturing area, in the engineering area, in the CAD or video editing area. And a lot of schools aren't able to offer that. But Bethel Park has been very cooperative as a district and very supportive of all the programs that we have here, and it's been a great I think it's a great asset for the students and the community. The industry's showing that a lot of 70% of the jobs available are going to be in the trades or the engineering and science and technology fields. So we're hoping that we can continue to keep a lot of the students coming here and also attract students that may not have normally taken a class in the technology education area, and then gain an interest and come down and see what we have to offer, and hopefully benefit from that. I would like to thank Andy Amrine for the opportunity to do this, and if any students get a chance to see this and haven't taken a technology education class, you know, I strongly encourage you, if you have some room in your schedule, to sign up for one of them. I think you'd really benefit from it.